Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to a new Amber Academy webinar. My name is Andrea Motok. I am Learning and Development Manager in Amber. And if you did not have the chance to interact with us so far, we are a game development agency, and Amber Academy webinar program is dedicated for you guys who are interested in developing your know-how and skills from experience in the industry. It's something that we like doing, share the know-how internally, but not only with everyone who wants to learn. So I have here with me today one expert in gaming with more than 20 years of experience in gaming, in marketing games, and in the game industry market. So we have a lot to learn from Rene Auclair. I'm happy to have you. Thank you, Louis, for accepting our invitation today. As you can see, the topic for today is really juicy. Even if we said it's dedicated for biz dev, for producers, but it's basically for everyone out there who wants to grow in the industry and wants to know how to pitch and how to get a win-win approach and basically get the deal with the publishers. So this is a really juicy topic. Thank you, Louis, for accepting our invitation.
My pleasure.
You're one of the close friends of Amber, so we're really happy to have you here. I just want to stall a bit longer because I know there were many people enrolled to the event. Probably they're just warming up, finding the link and everything else to join. So right now we are here on Zoom and we have a couple of people who joined, waiting for the rest to do it as well. Hey guys, for you, you have the chance to interact with us during the webinar through the Q&A session. Please use it. Ask Louis everything you want to know. We have 1 hour at our disposal to basically get the curiosity fed. So we're looking forward to have your questions. Louis will stop, answer whenever we have something there from you. And hello guys from Facebook, if you're watching us live there, do not worry, you can still interact with us. Just pop your questions in the comments of the video. We have a colleague there with her eyes on the comments and she'll make sure that all your questions are heard. So without further ado, Louis, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Andrea.
Share your wisdom with us.
Thank you. Well, first of all, good morning, afternoon, evening. I don't know where you guys are at, but good to meet you all. Today's session, I wanted to talk about finding creative ways to get the deal. It's not only about pitching. It's not only about different approaches to find publishers, but it's also about how to improve what you're currently doing and how to go further, how to have a process that helps you find creative ways to get the deal. It's also some of the biz dev strategies as a business development person of how you can approach relationships with clients, with partners, with other studios. So it will all encompass a lot of things. Please ask questions, please interrupt. I don't want this to be just me talking for an hour. I hear myself enough. So please don't be shy and ask some questions. So first of all, who am I? First and most importantly, I'm a person that COVID did not agree well with. As you can see, I have not cut my hair or shaved my beard since I last took pictures. Seriously, I've been in this industry for 20 years. I used to run a studio in Montreal called Hibernum. We did mostly work for hire, but also some original IP. Did mobile free-to-play, PC and console games. I've been in the industry for long enough on multiple sides. Right now I run RocketRide Games, but I've also been at Electronic Arts. I was also in the video games accessories business on the retail side. So I've seen many facets of the games industry. What is RocketRide? So RocketRide is my new company, my new project. Basically, we're consultants. We consult on 3 main things. Business development, so we help people get bigger deals, better deals, hopefully make better games as they're doing this. We also help people with production, so we have creative directors, executive producers, free-to-play managers on team that can help you not only perfect your pitch, but also while you're in production, make sure that you deliver what you promise. And finally, we also help with publishing. So We do help either big publishers release games on mobile, or we help people who want to self-publish. So we touch a bit of everything. Most importantly, we're a team of experts. Most of our team members have 15 to 20 years experience. So that's, we hope to bring a lot of experience to the studios we work with. We have 41 clients around the world, and been doing great since the last 3 years when we started the company. So one of the main things I wanted to touch on, and it's going to be throughout the entire discussion, is that creativity is not only about art and design, right? I mean, there are some roles in the game making process that are, I would say, a bit ingrained, that people don't look up to as much as others. I can think of the producer, who most everybody hates on the team. I can think also of the biz dev person, who the game makers look at the biz dev person as somebody that doesn't know games, doesn't know what they're talking about, and is just there to handshakes and sell used cars, which is not the case, right? I mean, there's different spectrums of kind of people on a project, and the biz dev person can show as much creativity. Also, the accountant, finance people, head of HR, there's always a place where you can use creativity to improve your company's performance, and hopefully in the end make better games. So from my past experience, I've seen budgeting creativity, timeline and production milestone setting creativity. I've seen code development, production creativity between studios. So there's always a way to make this happen. So the points I want to cover really quickly in this is, some business development words to live by. Basically, some of the things that I tell people all the time, that I keep like hitting that nail all the time, saying the same things. There's the business development role. What is the role of business development? What are publishers looking for? Also unearthing opportunity for creativity in the pitch process. So a process tends to be very, boxes and everything, but how do we add creativity to that? And also, where does creativity play a role in winning a deal? So those are some of the main points that I want to cover today. So let's call those Louis' word of wisdom. For people who know me, I don't have a lot of wisdom. However, I have experience, and I tend to approach things in a more humorous way. So hopefully you can relate to what I'm going to say here. So the first one, wearing too many hats. Business development, it's not a weekly task, it's a full-time job. And what I want to say about here is, if you're starting a studio, you're a small group of people, very creative, you have producers, game designers, artists, and tech people. Somebody's going to have to do biz dev for you, right? Somebody's going to have to go get publishing deals, going to have to go get platform deals if you're self-publishing, going to have to do deals with different IP owners or ad networks and things like that. This is a full-time job. So if you don't have that, that expertise, that experience, that knowledge, sometimes it's better to find somebody who does, either on your team and get him to focus on this, or maybe you can find somebody external or hire someone. I'm not preaching for my choir and say, hire me. What I'm saying is, make sure that you find somebody that can do that role almost full-time, because that's going to allow you to grow much faster than you can expect it. Don't bite more than you can chew. So it's important to find balance in how many pitches you're doing. If you're a big work for hire studio, or not even big, work for hire studios. And also it's important that you are able to really know the ability of your team and how big the games they can make. I've seen this happen so often. People jump in and try to win all the deals that they see. They want to be on all the pitches. They just started a year ago and they're trying to pitch Activision Call of Duty on mobile, right? Things that we don't have the expertise to do, the experience, or we've never done in the past. So it is very difficult for you to have a chance to win. But most importantly, it's going to make you burn a lot of time, effort, and money trying to win those pitches that you might never have a chance to win. You have to build your way there. You have to increase the size of your mouth like this little bird before you can get to a place to swallow this big fish. So very important, quantity over quality. And I know it's stressful because that means saying no to pitches, saying no to potential opportunities. But the power of no is a very powerful thing. it is always somebody's top opportunity. I didn't find a better image for this. One man's trash is another man's treasure. I find it a bit demeaning, but um, every time you pitch, somebody who's going to be making a pitch, a competitor, another studio, that's going to be the number one most important game pitch that they want to win. So these guys are going to go in all guns blazing. They're going to do everything in their possibility to win this. So you got to remember this, because the same way you don't want to bite more than you can chew, you don't want to come in into a pitch saying, we don't really want it. We just, in case we're going to pitch, you're going to still lose money and time and all that stuff trying to get a deal without giving it all the love that it needs. And without all the love, somebody else is going to give them that love and they're going to get the win. So you should also be aware that you should focus on what you can really win and what you can really give it your all. The 80-20 rule. I mean, this rule can apply to everything, right? What I like to say here is, you know, depending on your personality, 80% of the people you're going to meet are going to like you, and 20% are not going to like you. And I mean, if you have a very extravagant personality, that might increase to 70% are going to like you and 30 won't like you, because, you know, people that are more extravagant tend to rub people the wrong way. But it's a good ratio to live by. And what I mean by that is, if you meet a publisher, an investor, anybody that you feel are in that 20%, and you should know, right? So as a biz dev person or as the person in charge of biz dev, you should know what your 20% is. You have to be able to be very self-evaluating and able to know your strengths and weaknesses. And when somebody falls in that 20, don't try to force it. Don't be like, please love me. Find somebody else that surrounds you that has a different 80-20, right? So when you're hiring more biz dev, when you're hiring partners, when you're hiring new producers, hire people that have a slightly different 80-20 rule, so you're not in a position that you're all at the same 20, so everybody who hates one person is gonna hate the other people. And I mean, hate is a big word, but this happened to me in the past. I was dealing with a Northern Europe company, and they did not like my exuberance. And this happens. Of course, I mean, it's not frustrating, but you know, you kind of feel bad about it. But quickly, the moment that I heard that, I moved myself away from the deal, away from the negotiations, and I put somebody there in place. So it was all about, they like you, you can win this, go for it, right? In the end, doesn't matter who scores the goal. It just matters that the team scored a goal. So it's all about winning as a team, not winning as an individual. So don't do this alone. So many times, biz dev people are trying to do everything, right? They're trying to pitch, make the pitch, do the evaluation. So now they're talking to a publisher. And personally, as a biz dev, my expertise is more on production evaluation, and some creative, just some creative. So I could pitch because I've produced games in the past. I have that expertise, but I'm not the best one at it. It's much better to bring a producer with you, a game designer with you, and the lead artist, even the lead tech, to have that conversation with the publisher. First of all, you show you have a real team, you show you exist, and then you show unity, and you show the ability to work together as a team to pitch something. And even more so important for the CEO of the company, don't be the last guy, don't be the first guy on the negotiating table. Because if you're the first guy at the negotiating table, that means that what you say will stick. So if you make a mistake, if you agree to something that you shouldn't have, it's extremely difficult for you to go back and say, oh, I made a mistake, I shouldn't have said yes to this. So it's really important for you to have somebody there for you that will help you take care of that time, so that you can come in and be the savior instead of being the guy that says the mistake. I think we have a question.
Oh, yes, we have a lot actually, but I will ask one for now.
I'm gonna, guys, ask your question. I'm gonna put my dog outside. My puppy is crying and he's bothering me, guys. I'm sorry about this. Give me 37 seconds.
37 seconds and counting, starting now. Thank you guys for all the questions that that you added already in the Q&A or on the Facebook comments. We also have some questions from before.
Yeah, the joys of working from home.
Exactly. I was also nervous with the background noise that I have here. There are some workings doing, so
Yeah.
good, we can hear each other. That's great. So Lee, this is one important question for you. How do you recognize a deal, and how do you describe an outside deal to the internal stakeholder that is reluctant in investing?
Okay. How do I recognize a deal?
First, yeah.
So what do you mean? How do I see that somebody's willing to close?
I think the person what the person is talking. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to try to be broad because I'm not sure I get the question. You will recognize a deal that somebody is willing to close, somebody is willing to go for it. First of all, you need to ask, and that's going to be one of my next points. If you want to know if you have a deal, ask if you have a deal. Hey, excuse me, Eric, we've had this conversation for the past 4 weeks now. I think you saw everything you need from us. We believe that we're a great partner for you. Do you concur, and can we move forward? Sometimes it's as simple as asking for the deal, because people will ask you and continue to push you, right? You're going to do more pitches, more evaluation, more concept art, more design. You're going to do more and more, because if you keep saying yes, why would they start giving you money, right? So it's important to ask. And most of the time, when somebody will be following up with you faster than you follow up with them, there's a strong chance that there's a deal to be had there. So you should ask, and you should look at the speed at which they reply. I mean, when somebody sees a game that they want to sign, they will let you know. It's going to move very fast. So in my opinion, those are the best ways. How do you convince somebody that it's a good deal for an investor? So this one is a bit tricky. So are you, I'm going to try to be a bit more clear, but I have a publishing deal that's coming, but I don't have all the money, and I need an investors to complete that investment. That's, that's a two-sided pitch. So you're pitching to the publisher the game concept, the meta loop, the core loop, how much money you think it's going to make, who are you making the game for? And then the publisher says, wow, I love this. You need $1 million. I'm willing to give you $500,000 up front. You need to find an investor for the rest. So now you have to go to an investor and pitch him the same thing, but then you don't pitch the game. So when you pitch investors, there's multiple things to pitch. If you're a young company, you pitch yourself. You pitch the team members, how awesome you are, what experience did you have in the past. If you have no experience, pitch the second best thing, the game. The game is awesome. The publisher wants it. It's too much for his budget usually, so that's why we need extra money. But this is his marketing campaign. This is the past games, how much money they made. This is how much money we believe we can make off of this game with you. And these are the next steps for the company. Because the investor, they want to invest in the company and the team and not the game. So those are the different approaches that you need to have. If that wasn't clear, please ask another question and we can get to it afterwards.
I think that one of the important elements, and maybe if I can assume from the question, is also from your experience. I mean, did you meet reluctant investors, and maybe how did you convince them? Tell us a bit about your strategies. I think this is what the person is trying to find out.
So I think finding the best strategy is to close somebody that's reluctant. I think it's all about listening. And a lot of people have this misconception that biz dev people are good at talking, but the being good at talking needs to be being a great result of good at listening. Because when somebody talks to you about his objections, right, he's going to tell you why, and he's going to give you hints of how to fix it. And that's human nature. So it's important for you to understand how to finalize this. And I'll give you an example of something in the past that happened. We were pitching for a game called Magic the Gathering Puzzle Quest. And when we started this pitch, the publisher, they told me up front, Louis, we don't think you're going to win this, we think you don't have the right expertise, your team is a bit not ready for this. However, we'll let you pitch because we want to give you a chance. So the information that he gave me is, you better flabbergast me with your pitch. Your pitch needs to be much, much better than the competition for me to be interested in you. So then you take that information and you go on your team and you tell them, and that's where you send the challenge, right? So it's not only about convincing investors, right? It's also sometimes about convincing your team to give it their all for a pitch, because they might have to work weekends, they might have to create a lot of things. So what we decided to do for this pitch, usually when you respond to an RFP, you do a pitch, a paper pitch, a budget, and if you have time, you do some extras, right? Extras, we'll talk about this later, are super important. If you remember, it is always somebody's most important pitch, right? There's somebody in the group that says, that's my pitch. That time, that was us. What did we do extra? We did a survey amongst the internal team to ask them who's passionate, who loves Magic the Gathering, who has played the game, who wants to be part of this pitch. So people raised their hands, they were part of the pitch. Whether you're artists, designers, testers, all of a sudden, you're part of the group of people that's gonna push back and evaluate the pitch with you. What we did with this group, we did interviews. We had a list of questions and we filmed them. So we filmed them. Why are you passionate about Magic? Why are you passionate about Puzzle Quest? Why do you believe that these are great matches? How do you see this working in the next 3 years, right? Things like that. And we filmed this and then we sent that to the publisher. On top of that, a bunch of artists were really passionate and they made a mock-up video of what the game should look like. I mean, the game never looked like this at the end. That's not the goal. The goal is to sell the dream and the passion. So in the end, you send them a package that has a pitch, a budget that's perfect for them, a team that's ready, and all those passion moments. Then, I mean, it's not 100% that you're going to win, but you show so much passion that investor, publisher, or potential partner has to see that you're going to be able to, live up to the expectation of a 3-year relationship. And don't forget that when people are evaluating your pitches, your concepts, your demos, your builds, they're looking at this as, right, that's great on paper. Am I willing to work with these guys for the next 3 years? So this is really important to remember, that it's not only about selling your game idea, your pitch and all that, but selling yourself as a team of people wanting to work with you, because that's a long relationship. So I guess we're back to continuing and we'll have more questions later. Is that correct, Andrea?
Yes, please.
Perfect.
Let's move forward. Thank you.
My pleasure. So closing is hard. I love that image. For those of you who know Amber really well, Scott Humphreys and I, we talk about this all the time. This is from a movie, Glenn Ross, and it's ABC, Always Be Closing, and Alec Baldwin is badass VP of sales. But you always have to be in a closing mindset, in a pitching mindset, but to a point that you can't be annoying, right? You can't be that person that doesn't listen. And when somebody says, hey, hi, how are you? I really like, oh yeah, do you want to buy it, right? I mean, you have to be careful there, but always listen to the hints of what can bring you to closing, and be in a position that you've built that relationship with the person that you can honestly ask them, dude, are we going to close something? Are we going to make this happen, right? How can we make this happen? You have to ask for it. I mean, so many times I've come in helping studios that are not closing deals just because they're afraid of asking. So closing is hard. Closing is that moment of the first one, jumping in the pool and the water is cold and you're like, guys, you got to jump in with me because I'm here. That's what you have to do. Always be closing. All right, so the business development role. So business development, it's more than just going to conferences and shaking hands and partying. You also have to do a lot more around the pitch and around building your company. So some quick roles. 4 things that I really like to think about. You have to generate leads that are a good fit for your studio, right? Be careful. Don't just like pour everything in there. The size of the funnel at the top is not the most important. It's the quality of that funnel, right? Once you've generated leads that are a good fit, you have to gather that information. Ask questions. What's the budget? What's the timeline? How many competitors? Who do you like? I mean, do you have a favorite already? Am I just here to make him look good? What's your favorite thing about the pitch that you're asking for? Like, ask all the questions. I mean, that's a way of building the relationship. Don't do it with like an email of list. Like, do it multiple times. Have conversations, have back and forth. Engage with the person providing you with the pitch. Keep the team focused on the target. You have to be the representative of the person providing you with the pitch opportunity within your team. What does that mean? When the team shows you the pitch process, which you should see, you know, how is it evolving? How is it improving? Where is the pitch going? You should see that every 2-3 days and provide feedback. But you have to give feedback as if you were the publisher, as if you were the investor. And you should be able to do that because you've gathered the proper information. So you know how he thinks, you know what he wants, and when you look at it, you have to be able to tell them, this is good, this is not good, this is why, this is where I think we should be going. Don't start designing it, but give them the direction that they should be aiming the boat. Otherwise, they're just gonna hit shore instead of sailing to sea. And then close the deal and negotiate. Those, I mean, I'm not gonna cover the closing the deal too much here. Closing is important, but if you want to improve your chances of closing, the top 3 are the most important. The greatest impact you will have on your chance of closing deals is to have the best funnel of leads, then gathering the best information, and then helping your team focus, delivering on that pitch. How many times have I seen sending a great RFP and then the team doesn't do the right pitch, and all of a sudden you have a complete mismatch? Yes, Andrea.
So exactly on the pitch part, we have a question right now. It's how important is the stage of the product all the time of the pitch? And how important is it to show a demo of the product during the pitch?
So for original IP, you're making your own game, any platform, I don't care which it is, without a demo, you won't sell. You will not close a deal on a paper pitch on original IP. If you do, 1 in a million. I mean, it happens, of course, don't expect it will. You need to have a prototype. You need to have a video. You need to have something on top of your paper pitch to win. In an RFP, it's different. In an RFP, they do not expect you in 3 weeks to have a demo. If you can have a small team doing a prototype, fine, but be careful, because a 3-week prototype can hurt you. If it's not polished, if it doesn't look great, if it doesn't deliver something of value to the pitch, then don't do it. You'd rather be doing a video, you'd rather be doing interviews, mock-up, whatever. And I show you examples of things that we've done at Hibernum or myself in the past that allowed us to win deals. So very important to have one when you're pitching original IP. If you're responding to an RFP, it's a bonus. It's a very powerful bonus, but it's also treacherous because you don't know if you can hit that quality on time.
Great, thank you.
My pleasure. So generating the right leads. So we talked about this early on, and let me tell you a bit about the business responsibilities and where there's opportunities for creativity. So build relationships and not contact lists. That's really important, right? I mean, going to a show, gathering cards, business cards from publishers and sending them emails afterwards, very difficult. I mean, people are not going to respond to you. They might not remember you. So use your 80% side there. Focus on the people that you know can like you and build that relationship. Don't pitch at the bar after the show when you know the publisher just saw 80 pitches this week, right? Have a conversation with him and be frank with him. You know, I'd love to pitch you, but I'm not going to do it today. How about we set up a call in 2 weeks once you have time to, you know, get the dust settled a bit. So the relationship aspect is really important. For me, that's one of the number 1 things that I do. So what is your opportunity for creativity? it all depends on you, right? Some people like gimmicks, right? Like they're going to wear a funky shirt or a funky jean jacket or a hat or have a weird beard that they never had before. That is fine if it's your thing. It's not my thing. But I mean, some people like to be recognized that way. Some other people, it's all about having a great dinner, a great night out with people and going out and really showing them that they're a great personality because it's going to be fun to work with them. So there's different ways to doing this, but most importantly, try to build relationships. Contact lists are great, but they don't bring a lot of value. If you're pitching original IP, you need to know your game inside and out, including the target market. As a biz dev person, if you don't have expertise in production in game design or whatever, don't start pitching game features. Don't start like pretending that you know all this, and use your lack of knowledge to set up a call with the team that sets a follow-up, that sets next step, that sets that sets the next part to do with the publisher, right? So that's how you use that. However, be aware of what you know. And if you know the market, if you have a marketing major and you're good with marketing, then talk about the target market. And you can relate to that person saying, oh, and this is also another point, which is know the publisher's goals, past successes, and IP catalog. Oh, Mr. Publisher, I've realized that you've done a lot of IP work that pertains to Hollywood movies. Did you know that our team's knowledge of IP is very strong because we did this in the past, and this new pitch that I'm presenting you is based on a movie idea that we came up with while working with Lionsgate on the pitch, right? I mean, I'm making the things up, but use the knowledge that you have on the target market, use the knowledge that you have on the publisher's goal in that conversation to show him that you know him, that you understand him, and that you're catering the pitch to what he needs. Be mindful of your team's weaknesses and strengths. One of my big flaws when I was pitching earlier on is I was, saying yes. And I think it's important to be able to say yes, but you have to be able to deliver. And luckily, my team was able to deliver back then. But somebody would ask me, hey, Louis, are you able to do Facebook games? I'm like, yes. And then you start talking about it. That was one of my strengths, was being able to talk a bit about everything in the market. But if my team was not able to back me, quickly you look like an idiot, you lose relationships, and then you basically lose deals because of that. I'm going to finish the last point, and we can get to the question, Andrea. Be consistent in communication and be top of mind. One of the things that I say a lot is, if you are talking to the publisher often, if you're spending time with them on a weekly basis, sending emails on the phone, on Skype, sending a text, if you're in that place in your relationship, that means he's not talking to other people. So be consistent, have something meaningful to say, and be in a way that you can have a conversation with him that he just thinks about you. And then if you're top of mind, the next time he has an RFP on a big pitch, he's going to be like, oh, you know what? Louis said that last time we spoke, and I think he'd be a great fit with his team. Let's send it to Louis. So if you don't do that, you might spend just 1 month without talking to somebody, and you might miss an RFP because that person didn't see and think about you the last month, and they just forgot about you. And it happens all the time. So be consistent and be top of mind. Andrea?
Great. It's actually related to your other point on talents, on building on the strengths of the team, and so on. And someone has a curiosity here related to that. What are you searching for in your employee talents?
So what I'm searching for, and this is my second company. I had a big studio before Hibernum. So what I'm searching for the most right now, what's the most important for me, is autonomy. So one thing that I realize in my weaknesses is I'm not a good people manager. I'm good at relationships, but managing people and managing their emotions in the terms of making games, and it's difficult. It's a roller coaster. I'm not good at this because I have a difficult time connecting with that. So I'm looking for autonomy. I'm looking for expertise. I'm looking for people that have done something for a long time and are experts in their field. That's really important to me. Sorry, the phone is ringing. Let's wait.
It's okay. We can like enjoy the music.
Yeah, exactly, right? So I moved to the upstairs room, which is where upstairs apartment, which is where my in-laws live, and that's their phone. It's not my cup of tea.
Like a funny side story, you know, that immediately when when the pandemic started and basically everyone went in work from home, there were a lot of funny videos with many happenings from this video calls, like without—
Oh my God, let me going up the phone. They're calling again.
Yeah. So I'll share here with the group some of the funny stories that we heard and we've seen, I think, live. It's like mistress in the background, or people without their pants filmed on tape live and so on. I think this is quite safe for Louis. It's just the background phone ringing. Thank you again for addressing the question. I see a lot of engagement here.
Disconnected the phone. So to answer that question, yeah. So for me, really important is expertise. And then the other thing is fit. For me, the fit, whether it's the 80-20 quadrant that we talked about, but the fit as people that I want to call every day and talk to, people that I want to have a professional relationship, but even sometimes friends. I love working with friends. In my past company, I had a big fight with one of my partners when we closed the company, and big fight. I decided that I would never work with people I don't like anymore. And that's a luxury I can afford because I'm older and I've been around the block. So I can tell people, I'm not going to work with you because we always fight, or I'm not going to work with you because we don't see eye to eye. And frankly, when you call, I hang up sometimes because I just don't want to talk to you. So, I mean, you shouldn't work with somebody if you don't feel like you want to work with them, right? So, I mean, if you're looking at expertise, autonomy, and then people you like, it's pretty easy target that you know you're going to work with in the end.
Mm-hmm. And if you go back a bit to your beginnings,
Yes.
how did you basically get started, and how did you find the suited members for the team? It's focused on finding the right talent, basically. How did you
Yes.
do it?
How did I get started? We got started by I joined Hibernum, and it was kind of already like, it was small. It was 12 people, and they were doing things, and they brought me on board to do business development full time and production. So I started hustling, trying to get deals, and luckily it was at the beginning of Facebook. So Facebook games were just started, and it was a big thing. Having a conversation with somebody at Warner Brothers, he was like, "Can you do Facebook games?" I'm like, "Of course we can." And we signed our first big game like that. And how did I hire people? I went with people I knew, right? I was working at Electronic Arts before. So at Electronic Arts, I had worked with artists, with engineers, with game designers, and I all contacted them like, "Guys, you want to join? Because we're building something big here, and I know we have a great fit." So there's the classic phrase, right? Get the right people on the bus, then you will find them a seat. That's how we approach it when we launched. If you are no experience or almost no experience and you're starting, I would look at your work environment. I would look at people you went to school with, but I would do something. I would go to game jams, and I would go to game jams, do the game jam, and meet people there and see who you like, who you have a great relationship with, and try to build a core company like that of people that you are, in cahoots with, that you have a good relationship with. So that's how I would start if I had no experience today. It's I know it's easy to say because it's very difficult to get started. You're trying to get a job, people tell you you don't have experience, but it's like, how can I get experience if I don't get a job? And it's a vicious circle. Sometimes, I mean, starting to make a game, if you don't have a lot of responsibilities with regards to cost and family and housing and all that, I mean, it's almost free, right? It just takes time and courage.
Yeah, and promise one last more before we go to the other slide. We have someone from the Facebook stream who wanted to share, to ask something. So first of all, we have a lot of comments with exciting to follow this. Love the presentation so far. So thank you, Leo. People are here with us. What publisher would you recommend for starting an indie team?
Oh my God. It's very difficult to answer that because publishers all have different tastes. They have different expertise, right? So Devolver wants the funky art, great storyline, something very edgy, right? So that's important. A company more like Raw Fury is going to look at something more humorous, more flashy. There's all kinds of publishers on mobile. It's very difficult. On mobile free to play right now, if you're starting an indie studio, I do not, and I'm sorry about this, I do not see a publisher out there that's going to be investing in your game until you're at least at beta stage, meaning that you're shipping the game and you have KPIs and data. So you have to be able to do all that investment before you get there. But Some of the publishers I mentioned are very interesting. Good Shepherd is a great publisher, looking at something a bit more edgy as well. If you're building something with a strong story that is, how can I say that, that can get people to think about deeper things than just gaming. 11-Bit Studio out of Poland is very interesting. But there's so many publishers. What I would say is make sure that you have a good concept, that you know your target market and your audience target, and then work with that to create your game. And then once you have the core game, the creative pillars, the direction in which you want to go, then look at which publishers fit that, instead of trying to build a game for a publisher. Build your game first, then find the publisher. Oh, sorry, I'm going to continue. I didn't catch it. All right, so what are publishers looking for? Look at this. And we just talked about this. So it's perfect. The three main things he's looking for a team with experience, right? Either in another studio or experience together or shipping a game at somewhere, right? Then he's looking for KPIs, which is, your key performance indicators. So that means that your game on mobile is live and it has data. It's looking for IP. Did you get IP, or are you creating an IP that can resonate for a long time? And he's looking for a demo. So if you're looking at PC console games, indie games, he's gonna want to see a demo, and that needs to be fun. Never say, oh, I know it's not that fun yet, but we're gonna put in some visual effects and sound next week. Oh, and that's gonna make it fun. Sound effects, visual effects, animation doesn't make a game fun. What makes a game fun is the core loop, is the minute-to-minute and the second-to-second gameplay. So you have to be able to show that it's fun without any of the ketchup and the condiments and the fireworks. And he's also looking to risk mitigate. So a publisher always wants to mitigate his risk, whether it's by terms, lower budgets, shorter timelines, games that are almost finished, working with other studios, past experience. So those are really important. And then you, as a studio, as a creator of game, your maximum leverage is when you have a bit of everything, right? You have a great demo, you have a team with experience, or at least you can have consultants with experience without your team being full of experience. And then you mitigate risk by already having invested all the way to vertical slice or something like that. So you have to show your publisher that you're in this with him, right? The days of you going to a publisher and him giving you everything are long gone. You have to meet him halfway. The pitch process. I am not going to spend too much time here, guys, because I want to go back to more questions. What I want to show you, and you can look at this, a pitch takes a lot of people and a lot of time to do, and to do well. So the process as a pitch incubation and a pitch production, what's important, and on the next slide, is where can you integrate creativity? You can have creativity at many levels. So if you look, I mean, I've removed some of the squares, and in the brainstorms, in the framework and reuse strategy, right? What technology did you do in the past that you can reuse for this game, right? That reduces the risk, right? You're mitigating risk. What your art exploration is. Your art exploration is linked to the target market. Where are you going with this to have an art direction for your game that's going to be pleasing to your target market, right? And then at the bottom, you have your communications with the client, right? Briefing questions, direction validation. Again, if he's talking to you, he's not talking to anybody else. Have a pre-pitch. Tell your publisher, if you're responding to an RFP, I think I have a great idea. I'd love to talk to you about it. And then you get on the call with him. All of a sudden, the publisher is pitching with you because he's giving you ideas and brainstorming, and that's what he wants. So you take that, you say, thanks a lot for this pre-pitch. I'll get back to you with my final pitch next week. You finalize the pitch, you send him back. All of a sudden, it responds even better to what he wants, right? You need to have a champion on a pitch, whether he's going to be the art director, the game designer, the producer, but he's the person that's championing that pitch because it's his baby. He's the guy that wants to go with the biz dev to pitch, to do all these things to show the creativity of the studio, right? So these are things that I can send the participants if you want to see this. I don't want to spend too much time here. It's a process. But what I wanted you to realize is that every bit of the process, there's a way to be creative. even in the pricing strategy. And that is super important. The way you price your game, the way you price your pitch, the way you price your project is really important, because you need to send a message to the publisher. The message is going to be either we need a lot of money early because we're broke and we need money now, or we don't need your money that much and we have leverage because we have the money to make this game. We just need extra money to make it better, right? So all these things are very important. So we can have a really good time here, and I can send you a lot of videos to people who are participating who would like to see. But key opportunities when pitching, key creativity opportunities when pitching, right? So some important things are find and communicate your creative breakthrough. What is the creative breakthrough? On a pitch, either RFP or original IP, that's what I call the epiphany, the aha moment, right? And you're looking at your game, and most of the time you're going to be like, okay, this is like Clash of Clans, but it has animals in it, right? And that's not a creative breakthrough, right? A creative breakthrough is when you're trying to do Fortnite and you're like, this is a third-person shooter. Oh, and it has building in it. Oh, and it's 100-person battle royale game all of a sudden. Boom, creative breakthrough. You make billions of dollars. You retire. You're happy. So really important. The image that you see on top is me filming myself for the Fruit Ninja Xbox One Connect game, a pitch that we had done at Harbonum and we won. And here's what happened. So we wanted to find a way to go the extra mile. Why did we want to go the extra mile? It was our first console game. It was Fruit Ninja, and it was on the Connect. So it was everything that we loved about making mobile games and then moving them to console and PC, but mostly console in that case. And what we did is we had a humongous pitch with 10 different game modes. And those game modes were, as you can see here, there's fruit juggling, but there was baseball, there was head-to-head, there was the gauntlet and all that. And we had time at that time, and we had a bit of budget for the pitch. So we decided to film myself, because I have no shame. And again, find your tone, really important, but I have no shame. So I decided to go and film myself doing every game mode in the yard in front of our office, where I was showing how people would play and interact in Fruit Ninja. People absolutely loved it at Half-Brick. And we actually won the pitch in round 1 when there were supposed to be 3 rounds. This was a $1.5 million game for us, and it was a game changer. So what we did here is we went the extra mile with the video and the editing, but we also found the right tone. Those guys were Australian, we're Canadians, we're part of the Commonwealth. We made all this big joke about Australia being Canada and similar. And then we made this video that was completely humorous, and I looked like a fool in that video, which I can send to people if you want to see. But in the end, we won the pitch. Go ahead, Andrea.
Definitely, we want to see it. You need to share. You've talked so much
Yes,
about it. Yeah.
I will send it.
A bit of craziness, right?
Yes, exactly. Well, I mean, you got to do what you got to do if you want to win pitches. So the right tone was important, and in the end, clearly address what's important. What was important and what's important to people, you need to ask them. So, Mr. Publisher, you have the financing. What's important to you? What do you want to see in the pitch, but in the game that's going to make it a success in your mind? And then address those points directly. Don't hide them in slide 20 or 12. Like, address those points. You can almost put his question or his comment and then address it underneath. If an image is worth 1,000 words, how much is a video worth, right? So here you can see the video that we had done for Magic the Gathering. And on the right, it's a cheaper video. But what we did is with like quick Photoshop cutouts, we explained the gameplay of a game. It was a 3-player tactical shooter. And we wanted to show how it worked and how the controls work. So we just created this really quickly in PowerPoint, animated it, and then sent it with the pitch. So all of a sudden, instead of showing a core loop and a meta loop and all those loops, which are fun, right? They're great. All of a sudden, you play the video, you see it, you're like, okay, I get it. I'm done. Next slide. Takes more time, takes more work. But again, it's somebody's most important pitch. So if you want to win it, you got to go the extra mile. And then interviews, making ofs, game footages, ripomatics. I mean, everything that you can do that's extra will bring value. Even if it's you, I mean, you're making a pitch for Lego, even if it's you and your team with all your Lego construction in your office because you're so passionate, showing them how much you care. I mean, everybody's human. Everybody wants to know that you care about their business, about their brand, about their product. So show it. Don't be shy. Just like do whatever you can. And I mean, we made a pitch for a Katy Perry game at one point, and we did a one-take music video in our office to try to win this. Unfortunately, we didn't because they just canceled the project. But I mean, it was super silly. It was to the beat of all our songs, and we were lip syncing like a lip dub, and we look like idiots. But people remember this forever, and that allows you to have a step up over the competition. So I move fast towards the end. I think you understand where I want to get. The most important thing is what happens when you're a studio that's just starting. And I know it happens a lot. And you're like, Louis, you're talking to me about things that probably cost $10,000. I don't have that money. What do I do? Well, first of all, get biz dev help, right? At least if you can't spend that money, get somebody who has expertise that can help you get in front of the right people. Create your opportunity, right? Look at the IP. You want to pitch, you're passionate about a TV series from the 80s, the A-Team, and it's owned by Warner Brothers. I'm making this up. I mean, look at it, look at the IP, look at what it's about, create a pitch, go see them. You're pitching to a publisher because you got a meeting at Pocket Gamer Connect, and then you want to pitch them a game that you're making. Look at their past games, their past IP. Maybe you can pitch them one of their IPs as your idea. They're probably going to say no, but they're going to remember you. So that's where you want to create that link, right? Build prototypes, demos, videos, push it as far as you can. If you're new and starting, that also means that you don't have a lot of expenses. If you don't have a lot of expenses, that means that you can focus your creativity on delivering the best material. Do whatever you can to ship a game to market. Like, games need to be shipped. It's the most difficult thing is closing a game and putting it out there, right? So if you're making your own game, if you're making your own demo, your hyper casual game, if you have a PC game, put it out there, like ship it. And then next time you talk to somebody, a publisher, and he's gonna like, what's your last game? You can tell him, this is my last game. This was a test. I've managed to ship it. We're just 3 of us. We're so proud of it. It didn't sell at all. Don't pretend that it sold, but we shipped it, and now we're ready for game number 2, right? So push yourself to the limit and know the market and ask questions. There's nothing worse than starting a pitch relationship with somebody at a show. Don't forget, publishers, they see 15 pitches a day. Sitting down and starting to pitch. Don't do that. Sit down, ask questions. How are you? What's the last game you shipped? Are you happy with it? What's the last movie you saw? I love movies. You're going to see in the pitch I'm going to show you afterwards, movies are a great inspiration to us as a team. Like, make stuff up, have a conversation, ask questions. Those questions are going to feed your intelligence and your team to be able to make better pitches. So those are my advice if you're just getting started. And I know it's tough. It's extremely difficult. So I'm not pretending that it's easy, but there's no other way than doing it. Sometimes you just got to go. Andrea, I have one last slide so we can ask all the questions we want. And let's wrap it up. Guys, focus on your strengths. In the end, it's all about the game. Marketing and games are inseparable. You need to know the market. You need to know the publisher. You need to know all that stuff before you go pitching to somebody. So that's almost all I have. There's my used car salesman photo here. But we have about 5 minutes left. I'd love to answer some questions.
Definitely, and we do have more. People are really interested in knowing more about how you managed to reach this stage at this point in time. So someone is asking about your road to success. Give us some insights from the lessons that you've learned.
Yeah, I gotta say, I got really lucky at the beginning. When I joined Hibernum, I left Electronic Arts. And at that time, EA Mobile, that's where I was working, they kind of blew up. People went to Disney, Zynga, Activision, Warner Brothers. People just blew up like that. Luckily, I had built great relationships with them. People kind of liked me, so my 80% was strong. And a lot of my 80% are the people that moved. So when I joined Hibernum, I had people to pitch to. So, but when I started, I went to conferences like GDC or E3, and I had 3 meetings. But what I did is I hustled. I went to the conference, I went to the booths, I looked at people, I asked them for a meeting. I said, I know you're probably busy. If you have an opening the rest of the week, can we meet? Here's my card. If not, can I get your card and I'll contact you afterwards? And 10% of the people said yes to that, right? Barely. However, I went there to the next show and to the next show and to the next show. And I filled my credit card. So that at that time, the company wasn't doing great. I filled my personal credit card going to these shows, and my wife hated me, but it was the only way that I could build the business. And I went there. We were great at pitching. So the concepts, the art, and well, me as a person, we were a great team at pitching. So every time we pitched, people noticed more and more and more. Then we managed to get financing, small amount, $100,000 for one of our games. We shipped that game, find a publisher last minute, shipped it with Chilingo, started getting some traction. Didn't make a lot of money for us, but we shipped the game. So all of a sudden, what's the last game you shipped? There it is. It's an innovative concept on match 3. Oh, wow, I've never seen this. Oh my God, I have an idea of a match 3 I think you would be good for. Perfect. Let's do a pitch, right? So I put myself out there. It's as simple as that. And if you're not willing to do it that way, find somebody that's willing to do it, or find another way. Maybe your way is that you, with your team, are going to ship a game every 2 months. And then you ship games, you ship games, you ship games. And then when you talk to people, you're more shy and you're like, what are you doing now? Well, I'm building my career in this industry. It's difficult. But what we've decided to do is ship a game every 2 months. They're fun core mechanics. This is what they look like. This is where we're going with it. This is our plan. We'd love to hear what you need because we'd love to work with you, right? I mean, you just got to figure out your strength, what you're really, really good at. Surround you with people that are really, really good at what you're not good at, and then push as hard as you can. And I say it's luck, but you make your own luck, right? I decided to go to all these shows, to pay my way, and to go meet everybody, and then like leech off of somebody, right? Somebody that you know who's always at the show, go see him like, dude, can you give me help, right? Don't ask him for like a deal, ask him for help on how to find a deal. Then he's gonna mentor you, he's gonna start helping you going to these places. So that's how we did it. That's how we started. We were very aggressive. We didn't take no for an answer. We spent a lot more money than we should have, and we just did it.
Wow, and you did it, so that's good
Yes.
for you. Now, if you think of a recommendation for a top pitch phrase that you always use and it's successful in your conversations, initial conversations, what is that?
A top pitch phrase, like one line that says that really gets them interested.
Yes.
So, okay. I think the hook that I use the most is a projection hook. And I'll give you an example. Let's say I meet Devolver, okay? Devolver are now the publisher for Fall Guys, right? I did a bit of research, a bit of knowledge, and this is how I would start my pitch. I would like, man, I can't believe that you had time to sit with me today. I totally get it. With Fall Guys, you guys must be so busy. I mean, it's a juggernaut right now. I can't even start to imagine how you feel about doing all this show at the same time as trying to ship this game on a worldwide basis. So I have a pitch for you. Might not be the best time. If you want, we can just chat, chill. I'd love to get to know more about how it's going with Fall Guys and how you guys are going, and we can pitch later. But if you want to hear it, I'm ready to go. Just let me know. All of a sudden, the guy's like, dude, he understands. He's on my side. He's on my team. I like this guy. It's the first time I meet him. But it's a much better approach than saying, thanks for meeting with me, Mr. Devolver. Here's my pitch.
Mm. Nice hook, nice hook. And when they say no, so after the initial, if they say no,
I
what's your?
love them when they say no, because the biggest issue with publishers is that they never say no. They carry on and on and on, and that's a slow no, right? They're never gonna say no, just in case by the time he leads you on for long enough, you find lightning in a bottle. He's just gonna push it out as far as possible, just in case. So I love it when they say no fast, and when they say no, you're like, thanks a lot. If you don't mind, can we get on a call? I'd love to get feedback from you of why there's no fit or what you didn't like. Please be brutally honest. I'm trying to build this project and I'm trying to build this team to deliver, and I love to get feedback. If it's too much, fine, next time we see each other, let's grab a beer and let's talk about it then.
Wow, nice. Thank you for that, Louis. I think people were taking notes right now.
Yeah.
Guys, this is on live on Facebook. The recording is there, so if you want to review, if you've missed the word from Louis, you have the chance to come back. So feel free to come back to Amber's Facebook page and re-see the session if needed. Louis, thank you so much for your time. This was
My
really
pleasure.
valuable. We had many people live with us. I think it's easier on Facebook to join. So thank you guys for staying with us.
Thank you, guys.
It was a hell of a ride, really useful insights and tips. Hope it's something that you will use and it will be with benefit for you. Good luck in pitching for everyone who is doing that right now. And of course, stay safe. It's really important. For us, it's going to be a new Amber Academy a live webinar probably in 2 weeks from now. So stay with us, stay in touch. Louis, again, it was a great pleasure.
My pleasure.
And we'll see each other hopefully with everyone, maybe with a new topic. I'm sure you have so many things to share. So hope to
I have
see
a lot to talk about. I talk way too much. My email is on my signature here at the last slide, guys. So if you want to contact me, please don't be shy. Just send me an email.
Wonderful. Great. Thank you guys for joining us. Have a wonderful day ahead or evening or night, whatever time you have, and see you soon. Stay safe.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.